Hey y'all. So I ain't expect to make another video this soon, but this my life, your stories. Um and honestly this ain't even that surprising to me, but it was like, oh, that thing just happened. So let's get right on into the story. I um I was driving home from one of my sources of income yesterday, and my GPS took me on a different route. And let me just say, this morning I was a whole whining mess. Like talking to my higher self, like I just need to know. Oh my gosh, all victim mindset. Like please, just show me who I am. Blah blah blah. You know, cause I'm human, and I'll be frustrated with that. But I'm driving home and I see all these police lights. I'm like, ooh, what's happening? And next thing you know, I see some burgundy braids sitting on the side of the it's a street that cross over a freeway. So they sitting on the side looking over. I'm like, ooh, it would be. And I ain't gonna lie, I was a little selfish. I was like, it would be a suicide attempt on my way home. Then I'm like, not my business. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, my car was turning around because they was burgundy braids. She was black, and you know that is my business. And I'm like, I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? Right? I'm on the phone with somebody, like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna just pull up on the scene. It's all these white police officers standing around. They all got like their SUVs in the back. And fortunately, by the time I turned around, I saw that she had recognized all them white police officers and hopped up off the bridge and then was walking down the street. And I'm like, all right, well, she ain't going over the bridge. And I still wanted to keep going, but next thing you know, my car pulling right on up in this parking lot that's right there. Like, let me go talk to her. And I walk up to her and I'm like, hey, I saw what was just happening. Do you need a hug? Wouldn't even think about the fact that it's a whole ass pandemic. I'm just talking about hugging a stranger. But she was like, no, I don't trust people. And I was like, cool, me neither. Because honestly, y'all, I was scared. You know, you just walking up on strangers and stuff, but you know, I was just leading with what the higher self. I was just doing it. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking. And then I'm like, that's cool. I don't trust people neither. Then she was like, then I say, well, you need a friend? No, I don't trust people. I said, well, can I give you my number in case you change your mind? And she like, well, how about I just give you mine? And I was like, I gotta go get my phone out the car. Honestly, I was just trying to catch you. So I go grab my phone, but next thing you know, I'm walking up and we get to talking a little bit. Cause you know, like, she give me her number and then somebody else walk up. But guess what? It was another black woman. I was like, all black women, we got us. You know what I'm saying? Cause she walk up like, so I just saw what happened. Do you need to talk? We wasn't just gonna let one of us end it, right? That just was not the case. And so we got to talking and she was like, I just can't get to where I want to get to. And honestly, it was the same stuff I was whining to my higher self, begging my higher self to show me who I am. And I was, you know, life can't just be like this. And then it was a whole slew. And I'm like, well, so where are you trying to get to? And she was like, a whole slew of what all places she can't get, because sometimes the trauma just be too much, right? You can't get the help you need. You just be another thing on somebody else's list, all kind of stuff, and you can't even see where you're trying to get to. So after I saw, I'm like, all right, well, we might not get to where we're trying to get to. I was like, so what I hear is you a master at dealing with bullshit. And everybody chuckled a little bit, but I wasn't playing. Right? Because you just told me all this bullshit you got to deal with, and yet you still here and you hopped up off that bridge. And she chuckled, and I'm like, because what you just said was that you got all this bullshit, and yet you here and the bullshit is still doing what it do. So you must be a master at handling bullshit. And then we get to talking more, and she tells me that she's trans and she just had an incident where the people at work won't use her pronouns. And she even gave me a short version of her name. I'm like, oh, no, baby, I'm gonna respect you enough to say your whole name. And then she in a family where the family keep trying to make her be somebody she not. And I ain't never had my body disagree with my gender. So I don't know what that's like. But I know that I have had my body disagree with what was going on. I know that I'm tired of trying to prove myself or be something to somebody or find value in what another person think. I'm tired of trying to, all the stuff that she was saying, while it may not be for the same reason, them feelings is not unfamiliar. Remember, I was just whining to my higher self earlier. But my mama ain't raised no hypocrite. So, of course, as I'm like giving the things that is coming to my mind to her, I gotta hear that it's for me too. So, long story short, I may have been like, get your coin, you know, if they won't call you your proper pronouns at work, then that's a hostile work environment. I may have, you know, dropped some F-bombs and not have shown up as the beacon of what necessarily you think of when you think of love and light. But we both left feeling better. But then I went to my church activism group, Act Now with RU, and we was talking about what we're going to do for black people, because that's why we meet. And then I was like, but hey, I got a question based on this experience I had earlier. What do we do to let trans people who are trans and gender non-conforming know that they are welcome and loved? And we have some members who are, but we didn't necessarily, we was thinking like, hold on, we might need to do more. And it's not from the heart of not knowing, but the same way somebody, like every diverse group might be steeped with anti-black sentiment. Every group to say we love everybody isn't always true to that mission. So now we're thinking about ways that we could be vocally and loud about how welcoming we are, because everybody gotta have a spiritual center. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of proud of me, because not only did I just have that moment with her, I got off my own pity pot, and I advocated, and because I didn't want to invite her to my church if I didn't know it was more. I know I seem like I want to make sure she feel loved and receptive, and not just have another place where she don't belong. But churches and spiritual communities historically have been, whether toxic or not, a pillar of community within the community. Now, I ain't say I'm not with the history of lots of churches. I'm very against it. But that don't mean that I don't like spiritual community and I don't want a place to be in community and feel like I belong. And I think that everybody deserves that. Everybody's worthy of it. And I wanted to make sure, even though I know that my church has the heart for it, I want to make sure they're using the right language. I want to make sure that that people know that they're welcomed, not just tolerated. So, you know, even though I made this story all about me in the meeting, it wasn't about me at all. It was about making sure we're inviting and welcoming to those who may not have other places to be welcomed by the larger society, right? Everybody want belonging. So yeah, just your regular old run-of-the-mill, stop and encourage. Those kind of things happen in my life. And if you're in the city of Clawson, vote yes on proposal 2. Because coffee, cannabis, conquer. Even though I recently quit. But that don't mean I feel like everybody should have access to the medicine that they need. And yeah, that's today's tea.